She texted, "I don't care if you get hurt, just get it done." About the dangerous work task, I forwarded to OSHA. When the safety investigation cost her company $500 in fines and her job, I, 32 male, used to think my supervisor was just ambitious. Turns out she was willing to literally risk lives for her quarterly bonus. I work at a metal fabrication facility. Been there 8 years, never had a safety incident. We make industrial equipment parts, heavy stuff that requires cranes, forklifts, the works. My supervisor Mallory, 38, got promoted to floor manager about a year ago. Since then, it's been all about efficiency and productivity metrics. Last Tuesday, one of our overhead cranes failed its morning inspection. The brake system was showing signs of wear, not immediate failure, but enough that our safety protocol says it needs servicing before use. Standard stuff. Should take 24 to 48 hours to get the repair tech out. Problem was, we had a massive order due Friday. Big client, penalties for late delivery. Mallory was stressed. I get it, pressure from above and all that. But what happened next still blows my mind. She pulled me aside and told me to use the crane anyway. I reminded her about the failed inspection. "It's just the brake showing some wear. It's not like it's completely broken," she said. "That's not how safety protocols work," I told her. "If it fails inspection, we can't use it." "Look, I need team players here. Can you be a team player?" I said I'd figure out another way to move the materials. Maybe use the smaller cranes in combination, would take longer but it's safer. She didn't like that answer. 20 minutes later, I get this text. "Mallory, use crane 3 for the Morrison order. That's a direct order." Me, "Crane 3 failed inspection this morning. Can't use it until repairs are complete. I don't care if you get hurt, just get it done. We can't afford delays. Stop making excuses and do your job." I stared at that text for a solid minute. Did she really just put that in writing? To clarify, you're ordering me to use equipment that failed safety inspection? Yes, just get it done. If you can't handle the pressure, maybe this isn't the right job for you. I screenshot everything. Clocked out for lunch, drove home, submitted a complaint to OSHA with the screenshots attached. Then I went back to work and used the smaller cranes like I'd suggested. Took twice as long, but nobody died. Mallory was pissed about the delay, but couldn't say much since I was still getting the work done, just slower. She made snide comments all week about certain employees not being team players, and some people can't handle real work. OSHA called me 3 days later. They were very interested in those texts. Update 1. Well, the OSHA inspector showed up yesterday. Apparently texts explicitly stating "I don't care if you get hurt, fast-track investigations." Who knew? The inspection was thorough. They arrived at 6 a.m., right at shift start. 2 inspectors with clipboards, cameras, and a whole lot of questions. Mallory's face when she saw them was priceless. Went from confused to panicked real quick. They shut down our entire crane operation for inspection. Not just crane 3, all 6 overhead cranes. Production ground to a halt. The plant manager Ricardo showed up within an hour, looking like someone had shot his dog. Here's what the inspectors found. Crane 3's brake system was indeed failing. No surprise. 2 other cranes had overdue maintenance. Safety inspection records had been modified to show past inspections, multiple safety violations related to rushing maintenance checks. But the real kicker? They interviewed employees. Privately, one by one. Turns out I wasn't the only one Mallory had pressured. They had. Joaquin from shipping said she made him use damaged rigging equipment. Amanda from quality control reported being told to skip safety checks to speed up processing. 3 different forklift operators had stories about being pushed to exceed weight limits. The inspectors were particularly interested in written communications. Several people had texts. I wasn't even the worst one. Joaquin had a text where she threatened his job if he didn't use frayed steel cables. Mallory tried damage control, called a meeting while inspectors were still there. Brilliant move. Told us all that misunderstandings happen and we're a family who should handle things internally. Then she looked right at me and said, "Some people just don't understand how real businesses work. Maybe they've never had real responsibility." I just smiled. The inspector was literally standing behind her taking notes. By end of day, Mallory was in full panic mode. She cornered me in the parking lot. "You reported this?" You actually called OSHA on us? On you, I corrected. I reported you. This is insane. You're going to cost everyone their jobs. The whole plant could shut down. Should have thought of that before ordering me to use faulty equipment. I was just trying to meet deadlines. You've probably never had that kind of pressure. Pressure doesn't justify risking lives. She actually tried to grab my phone. Delete those texts. Tell them you misunderstood. I'll make it worth your while. Are you trying to bribe me? In the parking lot? Where there are cameras? Her face went white. She stomped to her car and peeled out. That night, the texts started rolling in. You're destroying people's livelihoods. Think about everyone's families. I have kids to feed. You're being vindictive over nothing. No one even got hurt. This is what's wrong with your generation. I hope you're happy when we're all unemployed. I didn't respond, but I did screenshot everything. Again. Update 2. The OSHA report came out. Buckle up. This is beautiful. Violations found. Willful violation, ordering employees to use equipment that failed safety inspection. $70,000 fine. Serious violations. Falsifying inspection records. $14,000 per instance. 3 instances equal $42,000. Serious violations. Failure to maintain crane equipment. $14 per crane. 3 cranes equal $42,000. Multiple other violations ranging from $1,000 to $10,000 each. Total fines, $487,000. But wait, there's more. Because Mallory put it in writing that she didn't care if workers got hurt, OSHA classified it as a willful and egregious violation. This triggered mandatory safety audit every 6 months for 3 years, required retraining for all management, personal liability investigation for supervisors who ordered violations. The company went into crisis mode. Ricardo called an all-hands meeting, announced that recent events had highlighted areas for improvement in their safety culture. No mention of who caused it. Then he announced Mallory was pursuing other opportunities effective immediately. She was escorted out that day. But she didn't go quietly. That night, she sent a company-wide email from her personal account. Team, I wanted to reach out about my sudden departure. As you know, certain employees chose to weaponize safety regulations for personal vendettas rather than addressing concerns professionally. My commitment to meeting our client obligations has been twisted into something sinister. I've given everything to this company, often at great personal sacrifice. To see it end this way because one disgruntled employee couldn't handle standard workplace pressure is heartbreaking. I'll be consulting with attorneys about the defamation and wrongful termination I've suffered. In the meantime, I hope those responsible reflect on the damage they've caused to our work family. Remember, in the real world, deadlines matter more than bureaucratic red tape. Ricardo sent a follow-up an hour later. Team, please disregard the previous email. As a reminder, official company communications only come from company email addresses. Management. But Mallory wasn't done. She started a LinkedIn post. Toxic employees. How one bad apple nearly destroyed my career today. I want to share a cautionary tale about workplace sabotage. It was lengthy. Painted herself as a victim of a vindictive employee who couldn't handle constructive feedback and weaponized government bureaucracy. No mention of ordering people to use broken equipment. The comments were initially supportive until someone linked the OSHA report. Public record, fully searchable. The phrase, "I don't care if you get hurt," was highlighted in the official findings. She deleted the post within hours. But screenshots live forever. Then came the personal attacks. She found my LinkedIn and started messaging my connections. Are you aware you're connected with someone who destroys careers over petty grievances? I wanted to warn you about this individual's tendency to create hostile work environments. As someone who worked with him, I feel obligated to share my concerns. Most people ignored her. A few forwarded the messages to me. One recruiter actually replied, "Ma'am, I've read the OSHA report. Please don't contact me again." She tried a different approach. Showed up at the plant during shift change. Security wouldn't let her in, but she stood at the gate with a sign. Wrongfully terminated, ask me why. She lasted about an hour before police asked her to leave. Apparently, someone called about a disgruntled former employee making workers uncomfortable. Final update. So here's where Mallory's entitlement finally caught up with her completely. Remember the personal liability investigation OSHA mentioned? Turns out when you explicitly state in writing that you don't care if workers get hurt, prosecutors get interested. The district attorney's office opened a criminal investigation for reckless endangerment. Mallory hired a lawyer, not a great one, based on what happened next. She tried to sue me for defamation for reporting her to OSHA, intentional infliction of emotional distress, interference with prospective economic advantage, conspiracy to commit wrongful termination. Her lawyer actually filed this nonsense. The judge dismissed it with prejudice in under 15 minutes. Turns out, reporting safety violations to OSHA is legally protected activity. Who would have thought? But the real karma came from her job search. Word travels fast in our industry. She applied to every fabrication facility within 200 miles. Results: rejected without interview. 18 companies. Phone screening then rejected, 4 companies. In-person interview then rejected, 1 company. They called our HR for reference. She eventually got desperate and applied for floor supervisor positions. Lower pay, but better than nothing. 1 company was interested until their safety manager Googled her name. The OSHA report was the first result. Last I heard through the grapevine, she's working at a retail store, ironically in their safety equipment section, still owes her lawyer $15 for the failed lawsuit. House is in foreclosure. Apparently she was living way beyond her means. Ex-husband is using the OSHA report in custody hearings. The criminal investigation resulted in 100 hours community service and 2 years probation. The judge said she was lucky nobody actually got hurt, or she'd be facing jail time. The plant? We're doing better than ever. New safety manager takes things seriously. We got new cranes, proper maintenance schedules, and nobody gets pressured to cut corners. Yeah, some orders run late now, but everyone goes home with all their fingers and toes. My favorite part? Mallory still occasionally emails random employees trying to convince them I'm the villain. Last one said, "I hope you're all happy." He destroyed my life over a text message. A text. I was trying to save all our jobs by keeping clients happy. Now I can't even get hired at McDonald's because of the criminal record he caused. This is what happens when you put safety theater over real work. Enjoy explaining to clients why everything is late. Someone forwarded it to me with a note. Lol, she still doesn't get it. Nope, she really doesn't. You know what the messed up part is? All she had to do was wait 48 hours for the crane repair. That's it. Order would have been 1 day late, maybe a small penalty. Instead, she cost the company $500,000, got herself fired, earned a criminal record, and became unhireable in her field. All because she texted, "I don't care if you get hurt." Play stupid games, win stupid prizes, and in safety-critical industries, the prizes include OSHA fines and criminal charges. I'm still at the same job. Got a raise, actually. Turns out companies value employees who stop them from getting massive fines. Weird how that works. Thanks for reading. Stay safe out there. And remember, if your boss texts you to ignore safety protocols, screenshot that gift from the karma gods. She texted, "LOL, you actually thought I'd cancel my Vegas trip for your surgery?" When I asked for support during my operation. I texted, "My mistake." What the nurse told her when she called the hospital later changed everything about that Vegas trip. I-28 male found out about the tumor on a Tuesday. Nothing dramatic, just a routine checkup that turned into, "We need to do more tests," that turned into, "We need to schedule surgery." Benign, thankfully. But sitting right on my kidney in a way that made removal necessary. Doctor said 4 weeks recovery minimum. I'd need someone around for at least the first week. Called Gianna on my way home from the hospital. "Hey babe, just got out of the doctor. Remember that pain I've been having?" She said, distracted. I could hear her typing. "They found something. I need surgery." The typing stopped. "Surgery? Like serious surgery?" "Yeah, April 15th. They need to remove a growth on my kidney." April 15th. Wait, that's the week of Vegas. My stomach dropped. "I know. I'm sorry. Maybe you could reschedule?" Silence. Then, "Reschedule Vegas? Do you know how long we've been planning this?" 6 months. "But this is surgery, GA. Can't you just move it to after I get back?" "It's not a dentist appointment. The surgeon has a waiting list." "This is so typical," she sighed. I finally planned something for myself, and suddenly there's a crisis. A tumor isn't a crisis I planned. Whatever, I'll think about it. She hung up. I sat in my car in the hospital parking lot for 20 minutes, trying to process what just happened. That night, she came home late, dropped her purse on the counter, and looked at me like I'd personally scheduled my medical emergency to ruin her trip. So I talked to the girls, she started. And? They think it's manipulative that you're asking me to cancel. Manipulative? I have a tumor, which you've apparently had for who knows how long, but now it's urgent, right before my trip? The doctor said. Doctors always say things are urgent. It's how they make money. I stared at her. We'd been together 3 years, living together for 1. This was the woman I was planning to propose to. I need someone here when I get out of surgery. Hire a nurse. What? Post-op care nurses. It's a thing. Miranda's mom used one after her hip replacement. You want me to hire a stranger instead of having my girlfriend here? I want you to stop making me feel guilty about a trip I've had booked since October. She stormed off to the bedroom. I slept on the couch. The next morning, she was already dressed for work when I woke up. I'm going to Vegas, she announced. The girls are counting on me. Plus, I already paid for everything. Okay, I said quietly. Okay, that's it? What do you want me to say? I don't know. Maybe be supportive of me having a life? Right, my bad. Have fun in Vegas while I have organ surgery. She rolled her eyes. So dramatic. It's outpatient, right? No, 2 to 3 days in the hospital. Whatever, I'm sure you'll be fine. 2 weeks before surgery, I texted her one more time. I'm scared. I've never had surgery before. I really need you there. Her response came 3 hours later. LOL, you actually thought I'd cancel my Vegas trip for your surgery? It's not even cancer. Stop being a baby. I texted back, my mistake. Then I started making other arrangements. Update 1. Morning of April 15th. Gianna left for the airport at 5 a.m., gave me a quick peck on the cheek and said, don't die or whatever. My sister Ruby drove me to the hospital at 8 a.m. She'd flown in from across the country when I told her Gianna wasn't going to be there. I still can't believe she went to Vegas, Ruby muttered, helping me check in. Her trip, her choice. Her boyfriend's surgery should trump a girl's trip. Apparently not. The prep nurse, an older woman named Dorothy, was doing my intake when she asked, is your emergency contact still Gianna Martinez? No, changed it to my sister, Ruby Conrad. Dorothy made notes. Good to have family here. Your girlfriend couldn't make it? Ruby snorted. She's in Vegas. Dorothy's eyebrows shot up. Vegas? During your surgery? Booked the trip before we knew about the surgery, I explained. And she still went? Yup. Dorothy shook her head but stayed professional. Well, you're in good hands here. We'll take excellent care of you. Surgery went well. Woke up groggy but tumor-free. Ruby was there with bad coffee and good energy, but here's where it gets interesting. Around 6 p.m. my phone started blowing up. Gianna, why aren't you answering? Hello? I know you're mad, but this is childish. Pick up your phone. Ruby read them out loud since I was too drowsy. Want me to respond? Nah. Let her sweat. At 8 p.m. the hospital phone at the nurse's station rang. Dorothy came in looking amused. Mr. Conrad? There's a Gianna Martinez calling from Las Vegas. Says she's your girlfriend and demands to speak with you. I'm sleeping, I said. Are you though? Dorothy winked. Absolutely unconscious. Understood. She left and came back 10 minutes later. She's persistent. Called 3 times. Want me to give her an update? Tell her whatever you think is appropriate. Dorothy's smile was slightly evil. Oh, I'll handle it. Later, Ruby filled me in on what she overheard. Dorothy told Gianna that I was unconscious and unresponsive. Technically true, I was napping. That surgery had complications. Removing the tumor was complicated, and that only immediate family was allowed information. Hospital policy she chose to enforce. Gianna lost her mind. The texts came in rapid fire. What do you mean complications? Dorothy said you're unconscious. Why is Ruby there and not me? This is insane. Pick up right now. I'm booking a flight home. Then the kicker. If you die, I'll never forgive myself. Ruby laughed so hard she snorted. Now she cares? Apparently Dorothy sold it well. Want me to tell her you're okay? Let's wait until tomorrow. I'm tired. I wasn't being petty. Okay, maybe a little. But mostly I was exhausted and hurt and didn't have the energy to deal with her drama from Vegas. Ruby posted a photo on Instagram that night. Just her reading in a hospital chair, with the caption, "Best Sister Award goes to me." No mention of me, no location tag, nothing to indicate what hospital or why. But Gianna saw it. Is that the hospital? Why is Ruby posting? What aren't you telling me? I'm coming home. I turned off my phone and went to sleep. Update 2. I woke up the next morning to 73 texts and 31 missed calls. Ruby had been fielding them all night. She actually tried to FaceTime me at 3 a.m., Ruby said. From a casino. Drunk. Please tell me you didn't answer. Oh, I answered. Told her you were in the ICU and couldn't have visitors. I'm clearly not in the ICU. She doesn't know that. I was vague but concerning. You're evil. I learned from the best. Remember when you told my ex I'd joined a cult? He was cheating on you. And your girlfriend abandoned you for Vegas. Fair's fair. Dorothy came in for morning rounds. Your girlfriend called the nurse's station 17 times last night. 17? We started a tally. Night shift made it a game. She showed me a piece of paper with tally marks. She's very concerned about your critical condition. What critical condition? The one she assumed when I said you were unconscious. I never said critical. She filled in those blanks herself. You're my favorite nurse. 30 years of dealing with difficult families. I know how to handle Vegas girlfriends. By afternoon, Gianna had blown up social media. Posted on Facebook, emergency, flying home from Vegas. Nolan is in critical condition. Please pray. The comments were immediate. OMG, what happened? I thought it was routine surgery. Praying for you both. My buddy Terrence texted me. Bro, are you dying? Gianna's post has you on life support. I'm literally eating Jell-O right now. She says you're critical. Critical appetite for this Jell-O maybe. Want me to comment that? Please don't. Let her dig this hole. Ruby was documenting everything. She's posting from the airport now. Mascara running, full breakdown mode. What's she saying? Rushing home to my baby. Some things matter more than vacation. Should never have left. Crying emoji, heart emoji, prayer hands. Now she figures that out. My favorite comment is from someone named Bethany who wrote, "But didn't you say he was being dramatic about the surgery?" Bethany's a real one. Gianna responded, "That was before complications." The thing is, I wasn't planning any of this. I just didn't correct her assumptions. She heard unconscious and built a whole narrative. I just let her. Dr. Williams came by that afternoon. Good news, everything looks great. You can go home tomorrow. Already? The surgery went perfectly. No reason to keep you. Hear that? Ruby said loudly. Perfectly. No complications whatsoever. The doctor looked confused. Ruby showed him Gianna's posts. Oh my, he said. That's creative interpretation of post-operative recovery. She wasn't here to get actual information, I explained. Vegas was more important, Ruby added. I see. Well, medically speaking, you're doing excellent. Whatever's happening on social media is beyond my expertise. Gianna landed that evening. Called Ruby from the taxi. Which hospital? Which hospital? He's sleeping, Ruby said calmly. I don't care. Tell me where. Family only right now. Doctor's orders. I'm his girlfriend, who went to Vegas during his surgery. Tell me where he is. Ruby hung up. The texts escalated. This is insane. I have rights. You can't keep me from him. I'll call every hospital in the city. She actually did, starting calling hospitals asking for me. But here's the thing. I was registered as private at Ruby's request. Unless you knew exactly which hospital and had the patient code, they wouldn't confirm I was there. Gianna spent the entire night driving to different hospitals. Dorothy, on her night shift, kept us updated. She called here 6 times. I may have implied you were transferred to a specialty unit. Which specialty? I didn't specify. Let her imagination run. You're all terrible, I said, not meaning it. Honey, I've seen a lot in 30 years. Girlfriends who can't skip Vegas for surgery, they get what they deserve. Final update, day 3. Discharge day. I was packing up when Gianna finally found me. She burst in looking like she'd been through war. Makeup smeared, hair wild, designer Vegas outfit wrinkled. Nolan, oh my God, you're alive. Clearly. I've been looking everywhere. Ruby wouldn't tell me anything. The nurses kept saying you were critical. No one said critical. You said critical. Dorothy said you were unconscious. I was napping. She said complications. Surgery is complicated. That's not the same as having complications. She stared at me, then at Ruby, then back at me. You let me think you were dying. I let you think what you wanted to think. Just like you thought Vegas was more important than my surgery. That's different. How? I didn't know it was serious. All surgery is serious, G. You're fine. You're literally fine. Yeah, no thanks to you. She sank into the visitor's chair. I left Vegas early. I gave up 2 days of my trip. Want a medal? I was worried sick. Were you? Or were you worried about how it looked that you weren't here? That's not. I posted asking for prayers, Ruby snorted, after Bethany called you out. Who's Bethany? Your Facebook friend who remembered you calling Nolan dramatic. Gianna's face went red. I was venting, girls vent, to everyone except me apparently, I said. You manipulated me, made me think you were dying. I texted you once, everything else was your assumption. The nurses lied, the nurses were vague, you filled in the blanks. She stood up, pacing. This is so messed up, I'm the victim here. The victim of what? Manipulation, emotional terrorism. Emotional terrorism, Ruby laughed. Girl, you went to Vegas during his surgery. It was planned. So was the tumor removal. I can't believe you're taking his side. I'm taking the side of the person who actually had surgery. Dorothy came in with discharge papers, took one look at Gianna and smiled. Oh good, you found us. How was Vegas? Gianna's mouth opened and closed like a fish. I hope it was worth it, Dorothy continued. Your boyfriend's been a model patient, his sister too. Real family shows up when it matters. The burn was so smooth I almost felt bad. Almost. We're leaving, Gianna announced. I'm taking him home. Actually, I said, Ruby's taking me to her hotel. I'm staying there for a few days. What? Doctor wants someone monitoring me 24/7 for the first week. Ruby took time off work. You've got Vegas to get back to. Vegas is over. I came back. 2 days early. After thinking I was dying, not exactly the support I asked for. This is ridiculous. We live together. About that, I pulled out my phone. I've already arranged for movers. I'll be out by the end of the month. You're leaving me? I'm prioritizing my recovery, with people who prioritize me. Over a trip? Over you choosing a trip during my surgery. Over you calling me dramatic. Over lol you actually thought I'd cancel Vegas? She grabbed her phone. I'm deleting that. See? Deleted. Cool. Still happened though. Nolan, please, let's go home and talk. I'm going with Ruby. You should probably get back to your apartment. Don't want you to miss any more vacation time on my account. I can't believe you're doing this. I can't believe you went to Vegas. She tried one more manipulation. What will people think? Everyone saw my posts about rushing home. Tell them I made a miraculous recovery, or tell them the truth, that you abandoned me and got called out. Your choice. She stormed out. 20 minutes later, posted. Some people can't handle strong, independent women who have their own lives. Grateful Nolan's okay, but shocked by the manipulation. Need my girls more than ever. The comments were brutal. Girl, you went to Vegas during his surgery. Independent is different from selfish. Maybe he manipulated you because you abandoned him? She deleted the post within an hour. I'm writing this from Ruby's hotel room. Surgery recovery is going well. Already got 3 messages from Gianna's friends saying she's devastated and didn't mean it. Cool. She can be devastated in the apartment she'll now pay for alone. My favorite part? Dorothy connected me with the patient advocate before discharge. Turns out, requesting privacy during medical procedures is totally normal. Limiting information to immediate family? Standard protocol. Nobody lied to Gianna. They just followed policy for a patient whose emergency contact was his sister, not his Vegas-bound girlfriend. She created her own drama because she couldn't imagine I'd be fine without her. Turns out, I'm better than fine. I'm free, and my kidney's doing great too. Edit, since everyone's asking, yes, I'm keeping Dorothy's tally sheet, framing it. 17 calls in one night has to be some kind of record. My wife served me divorce papers demanding full custody and the house. The next day, she texted, I was too hasty, let's reconcile. I replied, interesting. Then I agreed to reconcile, got her to sign a postnup waiving all claims to my personal assets and agreeing to joint custody, then refiled for divorce using the new agreement. 1 month later, her lawyer was stunned and calling mine about her client's misunderstanding. I 40M am still reeling. Yesterday, I got served divorce papers at my office from my wife Sarah, 38F. After 12 years and 2 kids, Liam, 8M, and Qley, 6F. This is how she does it. The papers were a declaration of war, full custody, supervised visitation for me, seriously. The house, which is mostly my premarital inheritance, and support payments that would bankrupt me. We'd been rocky, yes, arguments about her spending habits. She adores brands like Argento Luxe, while I'm more of a sensible savings guy, a growing distance. But this was annihilation. I barely slept, mind racing. The sheer audacity. This morning my phone buzzes. Sarah, Mark, honey, I was too hasty. Last night was awful. I miss you. Can we please talk? Let's reconcile. I don't want this. Too hasty? After trying to gut me and take my kids, rage boiled, then an icy calm. Me interesting. She unloaded texts about regret, blaming her aggressive lawyer, Mr. Albright. Standard BS. We're meeting for coffee. To talk. She doesn't know my first call after her text wasn't to her, but to Miss Evans, a divorce attorney whose reputation is basically Voldemort in a pantsuit when it comes to protecting her clients. This isn't about saving the marriage. She torched that bridge. This is about protecting me and my kids from her greed. If she wants to reconcile after showing her fangs, okay, we'll reconcile. On my terms. Update 1 week later. Thanks for the support, Reddit. The coffee with Sarah was an Oscar-worthy performance. Tears. I made a mistake. Albright's a bully. I'll fire him. She claimed the papers were a scare tactic, right? A tactic to scare me out of my kids and my assets. I played along, Mr. Understanding, while internally noting every manipulation. My meeting with Miss Evans was a breath of fresh air. She's a shark, and exactly what I needed. Her take. Classic overreach, then panic when they realize you might fight. Or she scared you, thinks she can get you back with fewer concessions now. The plan. If Sarah truly wanted to reconcile and prove she wasn't after my money, she'd sign a postnup. Miss Evans drafted a masterpiece. My inherited house and investments remain my sole separate property. Untouchable. Joint legal and physical custody of Liam and Qley. Clear schedule if we hypothetically split again. Mutual waiver of spousal support. Sarah has a marketing degree and worked before deciding my income was sufficient for her lifestyle. I presented it to Sarah. If we're rebuilding trust, Sarah, after those papers, I need this. To know we're starting fresh, that this isn't about assets. I framed it as her chance to prove her sincerity. She hesitated. A postnup? So unromantic. Trying to take my kids in home wasn't exactly a sonnet. I replied, gently, this gives us security. Her sister, Brenda, 42F, always sniffing around for drama and a handout, apparently advised against it. Brenda's an expert in spending other people's money and probably saw her vicarious lifestyle flashing before her eyes. But Sarah, believing I was putty in her hands and eager to avoid a costly legal fight, especially one she'd have to fund now, agreed. Okay, if it makes you feel better. I just want us back. She even declined getting her own lawyer to review it, despite me suggesting it. As per Miss Evans' advice, make the offer, document the refusal. Why would I, if we're reconciling, she'd said with a dismissive wave of her hand. Famous last words. We signed it before a notary. Ironclad. Yesterday, Miss Evans refiled for divorce on my behalf, citing irreconcilable differences, attaching our lovely new postnup as the settlement agreement. The original petition from Sarah was dismissed due to our reconciliation. Waiting for the fireworks. Update 2 1 month later. The explosion happened. Roughly 3 weeks after I refiled, Sarah got served. The sheer, unadulterated rage was something to behold. First, Mr. Albright called Miss Evans, practically screaming. Miss Evans relayed he was apoplectic. Albright, this is a travesty. Your client defrauded my client. She signed that postnup under duress, false pretenses. It's an outrage. Mr. Albright, your client initiated with extreme demands, then begged to reconcile. My client agreed, contingent on the postnup to protect his premarital assets and secure joint custody, given her initial aggression. Miss Sarah's last name signed willingly, declined independent counsel despite being advised. Which part is unclear? Albright blustered about misunderstanding and undue influence. Miss Evans invited him to challenge it in court. Then Sarah. The texts, the voicemails, a torrent of fury. You tricked me. You bastard. I trusted you. You used my love for our family. This is sick. My lawyer says that paper is worthless. You'll pay. Her sister Brenda chimed in with a voicemail calling me a sociopathic monster and whining that Sarah was a victim. She was just emotional. You should have been a man and given her what she needed. Yeah, my entire financial future. Sarah's main cheerleader, Leo, 39M, always suspected he had a crush and definitely loved the drama, started his passive-aggressive social media campaign about snakes and men preying on vulnerable women. He tried to confront me at the grocery store, puffing his chest out about how I was destroying Sarah. I just deadpanned, "Excuse me, I'm looking for the artisanal sourdough," and walked away. His sputtering was epic. The entitlement is astounding. They genuinely believe Sarah was owed her initial demands, and my trick was not letting her financially cripple me. The idea she's bound by a legal document she signed willingly after she started this war is apparently an alien concept. Miss Evans is unconcerned. Albright has no solid ground. Sarah wasn't coerced, she was arrogant and thought she was outsmarting me. Current status: Albright's filing to contest the postnup. Hearing in a few weeks. Sarah's spinning tales: forgery, drugging, mental incompetence. It changes daily. The kids are with me this week, as per our reconciliation agreement, which I followed to the letter pre-postnup to demonstrate good faith. Handover was icy. Liam asked why Mommy was so mad. Grown-up disagreements, buddy. We both love you. Hardest part is shielding them, not backing down. She lit the match. Update 3. This legal trench warfare is exhausting. The hearing to contest the postnup was pure theater. Sarah, styled like a tragic heroine, claimed I'd emotionally manipulated her, that she was confused and didn't understand. Claimed I promised a no-strings-attached reconciliation. Miss Evans eviscerated her on the stand, presenting the timeline: Sarah's aggressive filing, then immediate plea to reconcile. Mark cautiously agrees, then proposes postnup for his security. My texts, emails, explicitly stating I needed the postnup to rebuild trust after her attack. Notary's testimony: Sarah was calm, coherent, understood, and declined legal review. The postnup: clear, simple language. The judge, a sharp older woman, was visibly skeptical of Sarah's victim act. Asked her, "Mr. Mai's last name didn't physically compel you to sign this document?" Sarah: "But he pressured me emotionally." Judge: "So you made a strategic decision you now regret after your initial legal salvo didn't result in immediate victory. Is that it?" Albright objected. Judge waved him off. Ruling on postnup validity is pending, but Miss Evans is optimistic. The judge's comment about buyer's remorse not voiding contracts was telling. The dirty tricks escalated, as predicted. CPS call: anonymous tip, neglect, unsafe house. CPS investigated, found nothing. Case closed. Pure stress tactic. Had Brenda's dramatic fingerprints all over it. Work sabotage: anonymous email to my boss, HR. Misusing company resources, emotionally unstable, hostile. Included twisted private details only Sarah knew. My boss, thank God, saw through it. Keep your head up, Mark, he said. HR filed it under Vindictive X. Vindictive X? Humiliating, though. Financial BS. Sarah got my new credit card number, likely saw it during a kid pickup before I moved handovers to neutral ground, and tried to buy a $2,000 Silas & Sloan clutch. Fraud alert caught it. Claimed it was an accident. Yeah, right? Parental alienation light. Telling the kids I don't love Mommy anymore, trying to make Mommy poor. Qley asked why I was taking Mommy's house, which was never hers to begin with. Having careful, reassuring talks with them. Miss Evans is documenting everything. My response? Meticulous documentation and unwavering adherence to the legal process. Every dirty trick. Miss Evans sends a formal letter to Albright, noting the harassment, attempted fraud, CPS call, work complaint, stating these will be used to demonstrate Sarah's character and unsuitability for sole custody. Albright's replies are getting clipped. He knows his client is a liability. There was a moment last week after CPS left, I nearly broke. Wanted to call Sarah, scream. Instead, I called Miss Evans. She reminded me my calm, methodical approach is what's driving them nuts. They want an emotional reaction. So, I stick to the plan. Document. Trust the process. Be the best dad I can. The judge's ruling on the postnup is imminent. That will be the game changer. Fuck their entitlement. Fake. 6 months later, it's done. Divorce finalized 2 weeks ago. About 9 months since Sarah's initial salvo. The judge upheld the postnuptial agreement in its entirety. Albright's arguments about duress and manipulation? Demolished. The judge stated Sarah made a series of strategic choices, the consequences of which she now seeks to evade. The court finds not coercion, but regret following a calculated risk. I've memorized that line. Sarah's dirty tricks backfired spectacularly. CPS call, used by Miss Evans to show Sarah weaponized agencies and traumatized the kids. Work complaint, demonstrated a pattern of malicious behavior to harm my ability to provide. Credit card attempt, judge called it attempted theft. Parental alienation, kids' statements via a child advocate showed Sarah was bad-mouthing me. This heavily influenced the custody decision. The resolution, assets, house is mine, premarital investments are mine, we split minimal actual marital assets. Sarah got her personal stuff. Custody, joint legal and physical, 50-50 schedule as per the postnup. Judge explicitly warned Sarah against further alienation attempts, threatening custody modification. Spousal support, waived. Child support per state guidelines for 50-50 custody. Fair, not punitive. Legal fees, each pays their own. Albright tried to argue I should pay hers due to my deception. The judge nearly snorted. Sarah's courtroom reaction to the final judgment, stunned silence. Outside, she raged at Albright. You told me this wouldn't hold. I'm ruined. He mumbled about an appeal. Miss Evans says it's a snowball's chance in hell and costly. Brenda tried to confront me in the parking lot. Karma's a bitch, Mark. I just smiled, tired but genuine. Actually, Brenda, I think Karma just made her delivery, via registered mail and a legally binding contract. Got in my car, drove away. The aftermath. Sarah's in a small apartment, had to get a full-time retail management job. Complains constantly about money. Per school grapevine, other parents have largely iced her out. Brenda is fuming impotently. Leo, the savior, ghosted once it was clear Sarah wasn't getting a massive payout. My kids, they're thriving. Stable schedule, less tension. Liam's soccer star, Chloe's my little bookworm. We talk when they have questions. Me, I'm lighter. The stress was insane, the cost significant. But standing up for myself and my kids, methodically, legally, was worth every damn penny. She wanted war. I just fought smarter. No dramatic Hollywood revenge. Just the cold, hard, legal and financial consequences of her own greed and manipulative arrogance. She thought she was playing me. Turns out she played herself, signing the very document that sealed her fate based on her own overconfidence. That, Reddit, is satisfaction. She built her own prison. Thanks for being a sounding board. Time to actually live again. My girlfriend said, "Why do we need marriage? What we have is perfect." I replied, "You're right, it is perfect." Then I found her wedding ring and found out she was already married to her coworker. When I confronted her, she started crying and begging me not to leave. I, 28 male, have been with Natasha, 26, for 2 years. Everything seemed perfect between us. We moved in together 8 months ago, split bills evenly, and I genuinely thought she was the one. Last month, she brought up how her sister Veronica was getting engaged and how ridiculous it all seemed. "Why do we need marriage? What we have is perfect," she said while we were having dinner. I agreed completely. You're right, it is perfect. Fast forward to last Tuesday. Natasha left her gym bag open on the kitchen counter. A small jewelry box fell out when I moved it to wipe down the surface. Inside was a beautiful diamond wedding ring. My heart stopped. Not an engagement ring, a wedding band with an engraving inside that read, DNN Forever, 06/15/2023. June 15th, 2023. That was 3 months after we started dating. I sat there staring at this ring for probably 20 minutes. My mind was racing, but I forced myself to think logically. I needed more information before I did anything stupid. I started paying attention to things I'd ignored before. Her phone always face down. Working late 3 nights a week. Weekend work conferences I was never invited to hear about in detail. Thursday evening, I casually mentioned how I'd love to meet more of her coworkers since she talked about them so much. "Oh, you wouldn't find them interesting," she laughed. "Besides, Derek is kind of weird around new people." Derek. DNN Forever. I spent Friday doing something I never thought I'd do. Social media stalking. Found Derek Hoffman from her company's LinkedIn. Nice-looking guy, around her age. His Instagram was private, but his Facebook wasn't. There it was. Wedding photos from June 15th, 2023. Derek and Natasha in a beautiful outdoor ceremony. She looked radiant in a white dress I'd never seen. The comments were full of congratulations from people I'd never heard her mention. I screenshot everything with shaking hands. When she got home Friday night, I had the ring box sitting on the coffee table. "We need to talk." Her face went white immediately. Then the tears started. Jake, I can explain everything. It's not what you think. You're married. It was a mistake. We got married too fast and I realized I didn't love him. But divorce is complicated and expensive and you've been lying to me for 2 years. She started crying harder. I was gonna tell you. I didn't want to lose you. What we have is so perfect and real. My marriage is just paperwork. Just paperwork. 2 years of my life. Planning a future with someone who was already someone else's wife. Please don't leave me. I'll fix this. I'll file for divorce tomorrow. Derek doesn't even care. We barely talk anymore. You're the one I love. I told her I needed space to think. She begged me not to make any rash decisions. I spent the weekend at my buddy Marcus's place, showing him the evidence. He was as floored as I was. Dude, you dodged a bullet. What kind of person does this? The kind of person who cries and begs instead of owning up to their deception, apparently. I'm still processing everything. Part of me wonders if she's telling the truth about not loving him. But then I remember 2 years of lies, and I feel sick again. Update coming once I figure out my next move. Update 1. Holy crap, the response to my post was overwhelming. Thank you to everyone who shared their stories and advice. It helped me realize I wasn't crazy for feeling completely betrayed. So I went back to our apartment Sunday night. Natasha had clearly been crying for hours. She immediately started apologizing again and promised she'd already called a divorce lawyer. I made an appointment for Tuesday. I'm going to end it with Derek. You're the only one I want to be with. I asked her why she married him in the first place. We were together for 3 years before you. When he proposed, I said yes because I thought it was what I was supposed to do. But then I met you and realized what real love feels like. So you cheated on your husband with me? It's not cheating when the marriage doesn't mean anything. The audacity of this statement blew my mind. I told her we were done. Cue the waterworks again. You can't just throw away 2 years. What about all our plans? What about the vacation we booked for next month? Our vacation. That I paid for because she said money was tight with her student loans. I wonder how many of her financial struggles were actually just her supporting 2 relationships. She started getting desperate. If you leave me, I'll have nothing. Derek and I don't even live together anymore. I'll be homeless. I asked where Derek thought she was living. He thinks I'm staying with Veronica while we work on our marriage. So she was lying to him too. Somehow this made me feel worse, not better. She grabbed my arm as I started packing a bag. Please, Jake, give me 1 month to fix this. Let me prove that you're the one I choose. You already made your choice. You chose to lie to me for 2 years. But I love you. You love the idea of having backup options. I stayed at Marcus's again that night. Natasha sent me about 40 texts ranging from apologies to promises to threats of self-harm if I abandoned her. I almost caved on that last one. But Marcus reminded me that emotional manipulation is another red flag. Tuesday morning, she texted me that she'd met with the lawyer and started divorce proceedings. She sent me a photo of some papers as proof. I reverse searched the image. It was a stock photo from a legal website. That's when I realized she had no intention of actually leaving Derek. She was just buying time to figure out how to manage both relationships. I decided Derek deserved to know what kind of woman he married. Update 2. I reached out to Derek through Facebook. Took me 3 days to figure out what to say without sounding like a complete psychopath. Hi Derek, I don't think we've met, but I believe we need to talk about Natasha. Would you be available for a phone call? He responded within an hour. Who is this? How do you know my wife? We talked for 2 hours. Poor guy had no idea. Derek told me that Natasha had been staying at her sister's place since March because they were working through some marriage issues and needed space. She came home twice a week for dinner and spent every weekend with him. He thought they were making progress. She keeps saying she wants to make our marriage work, but she needs time to figure herself out. I've been patient because I love her. I felt terrible for him. This guy was genuinely trying to save his marriage while his wife was playing house with me. I sent him the screenshots of our apartment lease, photos of us together, everything. He went silent for about 10 minutes. 2 years. His voice was barely a whisper. I'm sorry, man. I had no idea she was married when we started dating. Derek thanked me for telling him and said he needed time to process. He seemed like a decent guy who got screwed over just as badly as I did. That evening, Natasha showed up at Marcus's place somehow. I still don't know how she found out where I was staying. She was furious. Derek called me screaming and crying, "How could you destroy my marriage? Your marriage was already destroyed. You destroyed it. We had an understanding. You didn't need to involve him." An understanding, like Derek had agreed to let his wife live with another man. He's threatening to take everything in the divorce now. The house, the car, everything. You've ruined my life. You ruined your own life when you decided to lie to both of us. She tried a different approach, crying again and saying how sorry she was, how she'd made terrible decisions, but we could work through this together. Derek means nothing to me. I only stayed married because I was scared of starting over. But I'll give up everything for you. Too little, too late. I told her to leave and not contact me again. She left, but not before telling me I'd regret throwing away the best thing that ever happened to me. The best thing that ever happened to me was finding out the truth before I wasted any more years on her. Update 3. Natasha wasn't done making my life difficult. First, she started showing up at my work. Security had to escort her out twice after she caused scenes in the lobby, crying loudly about how I was abandoning her in her darkest hour. Then she called my mom. Somehow got her number and told her that I'd broken up with her out of nowhere and she didn't understand why. Painted herself as the victim of my commitment issues. My mom called me concerned. "Jake, honey, Natasha seems really heartbroken. She says you two were talking about marriage and you just disappeared. What happened?" I had to explain the whole situation to my mother. She was horrified. "That poor woman has serious issues. I'm proud of you for walking away." But Natasha wasn't done. She started posting on social media about fake friends and people who abandon you when life gets hard. Never mentioned me by name, but anyone who knew us could figure it out. Her sister Veronica actually reached out to me through Instagram. "Jake, I don't know what happened between you and Natasha, but she's devastated. She really loves you. Can't you two work this out?" I told Veronica about the marriage. She didn't believe me at first. "That's impossible. Natasha would have told me if she got married. We tell each other everything." I sent her the wedding photos. She stopped responding. 2 days later, Veronica called me. I confronted Natasha about the photos. She finally admitted everything. "I can't believe she's been lying to our whole family for 2 years. Apparently, Natasha had been telling everyone that Derek was just a boyfriend she was casually seeing. Even at family gatherings, she introduced him as her friend from work when he occasionally came around. Veronica was disgusted. Our parents kept asking when she was going to settle down and get serious about someone. She let them think she was single this whole time. But here's where it gets worse. Veronica told me that Natasha had been asking family members for money over the past year. Small amounts, $200 here, $300 there. Always some emergency. She told me her car needed repairs. She told our cousin Maya that her landlord raised her rent unexpectedly. She told our dad that she needed money for work clothes. All lies. She was probably using the money to maintain 2 households and 2 relationships. Derek reached out to me again last week. He'd found out about the family money situation too, because Natasha had been asking his relatives for cash as well. Same sob stories, different audience. My mom gave her $500 last month because Natasha said she needed it for medical bills, Derek told me. She's been scamming everyone. Derek filed for divorce and kicked her out of their house. She's been staying with Veronica, but apparently that's not going well either. Veronica says she lies about everything, Derek continued. Small stuff, big stuff, doesn't matter. She can't help herself. I dodged a bullet, but I still feel sorry for Derek. He's a good guy who wasted 3 years on someone who saw him as a safety net. Final update. The drama finally reached its peak, and honestly, I couldn't have scripted a better ending if I tried. Last month, Natasha's web of lies completely unraveled in the most spectacular way possible. Veronica kicked her out after she caught Natasha stealing jewelry from her bedroom. Not borrowing, stealing. She was planning to sell Veronica's grandmother's ring to pay for a deposit on a new apartment. With nowhere else to go, Natasha moved back in with her parents. They had no idea about Derek, remember? So when he showed up at their house looking for her with divorce papers, it was chaos. Her parents were completely blindsided. Married? What do you mean married? Natasha's been single for years. Derek had to show them the wedding photos and legal documents to prove it. Natasha's mom called me that evening, sobbing. Jake, I'm so sorry. We had no idea. We thought you were her boyfriend. We liked you so much. Her dad was apparently furious about the money she'd taken from family members under false pretenses. When they confronted her about it, she tried to blame me. I needed the money because Jake was pressuring me to leave Derek. He said he'd break up with me if I didn't get divorced quickly, so I had to hire an expensive lawyer. Complete fabrication, but she stuck to the story. Here's the best part. Derek's family and Natasha's family started comparing notes. They realized she'd been telling contradictory lies to both sides for years. Derek's mom told Natasha's mom about all the money they'd given her for various emergencies. Natasha's dad started adding up all the family loans she'd never repaid. The total was over $4,000. Her family demanded she pay them back immediately. She couldn't, obviously, because she'd spent it all maintaining her double life. That's when they discovered she'd also been lying about her job situation. Turns out she'd been fired from her position 3 months ago for inappropriate workplace relationships. Apparently, she'd been hooking up with Derek at work, and it created a hostile environment for other employees. She'd been living off family money and Derek's income while pretending to still have her job. Even I didn't know she was unemployed. So here's where everything stands now. Derek got his divorce finalized last week. He kept the house and car since he could prove she'd been committing fraud. Her name wasn't on the mortgage anyway. Her family cut her off financially and demanded she pay back every penny she borrowed. Her dad actually filed a police report for theft regarding the jewelry incident with Veronica. She's currently living in a studio apartment across town, working at a chain restaurant, and apparently telling anyone who'll listen that Derek and I conspired to destroy her life. But wait, it gets better. Last week, I got a text from an unknown number. It was from someone named Bradley. Hey, is this Jake? I think we need to talk about Natasha. Turns out Bradley was Natasha's boyfriend before Derek. They dated for 2 years, and she cheated on him with Derek. She'd told Bradley the same lies about Derek that she told me, that he was just a friend from work and nothing serious. Bradley found out about me through mutual friends and wanted to warn me about her pattern of behavior. Too late, obviously, but it was validating to know I wasn't her first victim. She's been doing this for years, Bradley told me. She can't maintain one relationship, so she always has backup plans. I should have warned Derek when I found out about him, but I thought she'd change. People don't change, especially people who lie as easily as breathing. The funniest part? Natasha actually tried to get back together with Bradley last month. Sent him a long message about how she'd grown as a person and realized he was her true love. He screenshot the message and sent it to me. Even after everything, she was still trying to manipulate someone into being her safety net. Bradley declined, obviously. As for me, I'm doing great. I moved into a nice 1-bedroom place downtown. I've been dating someone new for the past month. Emma, who I met through work. She's honest, straightforward, and definitely not married to anyone else. I learned a lot about red flags and trusting my instincts. When someone seems too good to be true, they usually are. When someone avoids talking about certain parts of their life, there's usually a reason. I don't hate Natasha anymore. I actually feel sorry for her. She created this elaborate web of lies and lost everyone who genuinely cared about her. Derek loved her enough to work on their marriage. I loved her enough to plan a future with her. Her family supported her financially and emotionally. She threw it all away because she was too selfish and cowardly to be honest with anyone. Some people in the comments asked if I ever regret exposing her to Derek. Never. He deserved to know the truth. Just like I did. We both deserved better than being someone's backup plan. Natasha made her choices. She lived with 2 years of lies, and now she gets to live with the consequences. That's justice served, as far as I'm concerned. Thanks to everyone who followed this journey with me. Your support meant everything during the hardest months of my life. Life's good now. Really good. Edit, for those asking, yes, Derek and I actually became friends through all this. We grab beers occasionally and laugh about how we both dodged the same bullet. He's dating someone new too, and she seems awesome. Sometimes the worst situations lead you to the best people.